If you're a real estate agent who has a geographic farm or a micro farm that you're looking to dominate, to become the dominant listing agent in, then you're going to love this week's Free Coaching Friday, because in our replay of a live session earlier this week, that's exactly what we're going to do. There was a member of my team, my organization, who has a micro farm of about 600 homes that he wants to get more business in. And we lay out a plan for how he can do just that. So check that out and get back to the person who sent you here and request a free guest pass if you'd like to join us on a live session like what you're going to see in just a minute. So check it out and enjoy. One of the folks in our group, a fellow by the name of Wilson. He's in Pennsylvania. He's actually not far from where I grew up, and he has I guess I would call it like a micro farm or a neighborhood. The term doesn't really matter a whole lot. He's got a group of about 600 properties that he would like to dominate, right? To get market share in. And one of the reasons is he's got several clients that are interested in that, that neighborhood, those properties. And so I thought we would brainstorm what are some things to do with that audience. And we've already started to do some of this with and for Wilson. But I thought, great topic for here. So what we've done thus far is, we skip traced the audience so that we can for email and phone numbers. And oddly, even though it was about 600 properties, we only got like 230 email addresses back, something like that. But there are things that we can then do with that. So, what my thought is, because it's a small audience, I wouldn't always recommend this, but because it's a relatively small audience, let's get all that have additional data into KB Core. And this part's going to be a little bit of a pain, but because Wilson wants to dominate this, I think it's worth it. Plus get all set up on market reports. Now, why is that a pain? Because there's no automated way to do that in KB Core. You have to manually set those up for each one. But if you do 5 a day over the course of a month, or 10 a day in a month, and it's done, because we only got about, of the 600, and maybe let's add to this case study, 600 homes in a particular or a specific neighborhood. Harry, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, is he sure that he wants to farm this neighborhood? I mean, has he looked at the turnover rate? Because that's, when I have studied farming, one of the first things that people say is you want to look and see if there's enough activity in the neighborhood to make it worth your money, if he's looking at sort of a long-term farm.
So that's a great point. So just strategically speaking, before you go down this road, you do want to understand what are the turnover rates. And if you're watching this, depending on where you're watching this, if you'd like information on how to do that, a tutorial on how to do that, just comment below or get back to the person that sent you to this little coaching session. But basically what you look at is, of the homes in that neighborhood or zip code or whatever, how many of them over the last year were sold. So in an example with 600, if 60 of them turned over in the last 12 months, that would be a 10% turnover rate. I would say that's very unlikely. It's possible, but very unlikely. Generally, what you're going to find, it's probably closer to 2 to 3%, maybe 5 or 6%. And what's as valuable or important is then also taking that number and looking at what is the total volume that equaled, and what is the total potential gross commission income that equaled, right? And so to do that, you take that turnover numbers and you look at what was the average home price and you multiply that. So in this case, if 30 of these homes sold in the last 12 months and they averaged, say, 500,000, just for easy round numbers, that's 15 million, 15 million, right? And so 15 million times, let's say, if we want to just do, one side, 15 million times 0.03, that's 450,000 in potential theoretical gross commission income if you get 2.5 or 3% rather. But let's say it's 2.5 and 2.5. Well, then that would equal 15 million times 0.05, 750,000 in potential commission income from that 15 million. That's taking into consider the listing side and the buy side with an average of 2.5% on either side. Okay, so I think that's a great exercise to do because it will open your eyes up to the amount of, what that potential is. And so if our case study, our person in this case study, Wilson, if he got 10% of that 750,000, that'd be 75,000 in gross commission income. So you don't have to have huge numbers for it to potentially make sense. And what we're going to outline here, he could easily execute over a year's time for well under, let's say, $5,000 or maybe even well under $2,500. And again, this wasn't intended to be a math lesson, but it can be pretty lucrative when you look at it from an ROI perspective. All of that said, that is a great point, Harry. You want to make sure, is this worth pursuing? Is this an opportunity worth doing? Should I put my time, money, and energy into this? Let's assume he's already done that, or he's just committed to it because I think it is, he's in the community or close by. He's got clients who are very, actively and regularly looking in there. Here is how I would think about it. And again, please, this isn't, we want to brainstorm all thoughts and angles here. So I want to get them all all with additional data into KV Core and get them set up on market reports. And I'd probably have that go every 21 days, or 28.
Doctor, I have a quick question.
Yep.
The market report in KV Core, is it accurate, or what are your findings when
I mean, they're pretty good. A lot of it is just reporting. It's reporting the facts, most of it. So it will show the numbers over the last, I can't remember if it's 28 days or 90 days or what it is, but it'll also say, here's how many active listings, here's how many pending, here's the most expensive listing, here's the least expensive listing. And I would set yourself up on a market report and set it up for yourself, set it up every 7 days so you can see what they look like, but they look nice, visually speaking, and it's just reporting facts, it's so I think they're pretty sharp.
So it doesn't go into the value of your home as X?
No.
Okay.
This isn't a home valuation. This is literally, here's the market data for this zip code or this neighborhood or this city or this. In KV Core, I think you can do it by city, zip code, and if there's enough data, a particular neighborhood or subdivision. You can't do it countywide. I don't think you can parse it by just school district. Because I think the data becomes too convoluted for it. So in this scenario, I would either set them up for the zip code or the city in this particular example or scenario.
Yeah. Out here in California, in KV Core, you can do by tract name. And so that really narrows it down.
Yeah. That's going to depend by market. Like I have a few that I can pull that it will do that. The problem is there's sometimes so little data that nothing popped, like it'll send a market report, but there's not really anything in there. Like if there's no listings and there's no recent activity, then it's just kind of like an empty report. So that's what I would, okay, the first thing we have to do is we have to get additional information or data on these folks so we can hit them in multiple fashions. Then we want to leverage that data, and in this example, get them set up on a KV Core market update. What if you don't have that? Well, you could theoretically set everyone up in your MLS and send them a monthly email with all the activity in the neighborhood. Okay. You know, you all have, if you're watching this, you probably have access to the MLS. That would take some time and effort, but it's also not likely that your competition is doing that. Maybe they are, but not very likely. Okay. What else can you be doing? Well, you could add them all into HomeBot, and have that go to work for you. If you've not heard of a HomeBot, homebot.ai, it's a great service. It's relatively inexpensive, and it is there's lots of great functionality, and it's providing great. You're providing a value and service to the people getting the HomeBot, and HomeBot will give you data of people interacting and engaging, which is an indicator, oh, you know, this might be somebody that I should follow up with. Okay. For me personally, I would also start to include them on my my weekly email, my weekly broadcast email. Okay, that may be optional. You may or may not want to do that. You might not be doing that. Maybe you're doing it monthly. If you're doing something like this, though, it can't be a canned email. I continue to be appalled is a little strong, but just like surprised. You know, I end up on a lot of other real estate agents' email lists, and the stuff that people send is shocking to me. How you could send something, send what is clearly a canned email, or I got one just the other day for President's Day, and it was literally just this like glittery thing that said Happy President's Day and his contact info. That is not going to accomplish anything except drive people to unsubscribe. So you need to personalize these. You need to localize them, right, to your market. You need to mix up the content. We've got some great examples and what I call of, like buckets of content and so forth. Reach out if you'd like to see some of that as well. I would also, me personally, I would, if I am convinced that this is an effort worth doing, I would send them 2 pieces of direct mail per month. Personally, what would that look like? One of them would be offering a home price report. Okay, the blank area home price report. And all you're going to send them is, honestly, information that's in the market update, but you can send them in a more personal fashion. Okay. Yellow front, no branding. Okay. This was not done with thanks.io, but thanks.io is a great platform to do that. growwithjosh.com/thanks. I would send something like this. And then I would vary the other sends. So that I would send every month. You know, here is your March, right? Because tomorrow is March 1st at the time of, when we're talking about this. The March home price report for blank neighborhood, right? So I live in a neighborhood called Westbury. So the Westbury, the March 2021 Westbury home price report. Okay. I would send that every month. At a minimum, I would send it every quarter, right? If you want to look at another frequency, you could send it quarterly. So you could say, here's the winter, or, we're coming into spring, let's say. So here's your spring 2022 blank area home price report. And then Some other things that you could send, okay, for that, if you're going to get aggressive here, I would send, and this is taking into account the fact that Wilson, in our example here, he has buyers, he has clients that want to buy a property in here. So I would send them a variety of different mail, whether it be postcards, note cards, and letters, communicating that message, right? And so I already mentioned thanks, but I'll bring it up. growwithjosh.com/thanks. You can get a free account. If you're going to use it on any level, I would get their business account. It's $49 a month. But I would mix up the messages as far as the type of direct mail. I'm not sure why it's not wanting to load here. Postcard, note card, and letter. And the first one I would say is, and I'll show an actual example here in a minute of something I sent out. Some people call this the golden letter, which is pretty much, hey, would you consider selling your property to one of my clients? Okay. And I would send one like that is more generic. And I would also mix in, I'm gonna have to find that batch here. I would also mix in, so I would send that out. So the very first month, I would send out a postcard like this, offering the home price report. Then 2 weeks later, I would send the golden letter. Okay. Would you consider selling your property to one of my clients? Then I would send, if I'm sending on a 1 month frequency, in the next month, I would send the April home price report postcard. And I would then also send, I would probably do it as a postcard instead of a letter this time. I would tell a story specifically of one of my clients that want to buy. Golly, we got a lot of mail going out in this. Trying to find the example. Oh, here it is, I think. Oh, no, that's the card builder. Okay, so here's the example of the golden letter. Let's say, would you be interested in selling your home at 27 Ashton Street to a client of ours? If so, please call or text me on this number. Okay, that's what I would send month 1. Month 2, I would send something. I don't know that I have an example here, but I would tell a specific client's story. So it's similar, right? But where this is more vague, would you consider selling to a client of ours? Now we're going to tell a specific story. Okay. Would you consider, we have clients, Bill and Stacy, who are looking to buy a home in and make it as congruent as possible to the area, the micro farm, right? Whether there's a name for it or you could frame it, they're looking to buy a 3-bed, 2.5-bath home right here in blank city. Okay. They are ready, willing, and able to make an offer today if it makes sense and if you're thinking about selling. And Harry, why don't you add, I know we mentioned this earlier in our huddle, but maybe add your what you are finding in letters like that are helping to stand out, because we're not the only ones doing this. What have you been including in there that kind of gets some more attention and response?
So I have buyers. If your buyers are able to pay your commission, so that the seller would basically have no compensation due, just whatever the transfer and recordation taxes are. Or I guess the buyers could even pay that. But anyway, the offers that I'm writing is that my buyers will pay my commission.
There you go. So the second month, we're sending the updated monthly home price report and a more a story, client specific offer. The third month, again, with the market update. Okay. The May 2022 home price report for a blank area. And then I would send a direct mail piece in a different variety. So month one, the direct mail was the golden letter, and it was an actual letter. Okay, with thanks.io, this is an actual letter. It comes in an envelope like this, and it's an actual letter. Okay, that's an actual example. Month two, I would probably send it as a postcard or note card. Okay, so when you're saying, my clients Bill and Stacy are dying to buy a home in this neighborhood. They're ready, willing, and able to make an offer right now, and they'll even cover my fee. If you've been thinking at all about selling, please call or text me at this number. Let's say we send that as a note card. Well, then I would send something similar to that as a postcard. Okay, as a postcard. And so we're just mixing up the variety or the type of direct mail. I thought I had a postcard example. I'm sorry, a note card example from Thanks as well, but I don't seem to have one here. And then I would just keep cycling, literally just keep cycling. That would be a more aggressive direct mail plan. But let's say you don't want to get quite that aggressive. Then I would do the quarterly home price report and do it by season, to get your free spring 2022 Hamden Township home price report, and then summer 2022, and then fall, and then mix in. So you do that every 90 days. Let's say you just wanted to do one a month instead of 2 a month. I would do the home price report by season. I would do a golly, my brain doesn't want to work. So similar to what we said, a golden letter or a specific client, etc. And then so you do that once every 90 days, and then once every 90 days, you could also, now this is assuming that you've sold a property in the area or someone in your office has. You could send out a just listed or just sold message of some kind. Okay. And so then you've got something theoretically once a month that you vary the messages. What's that going to cost you? Well, it's, depending on the mail piece, it's going to be, if you're going to do twice a month, you could do it for as little as $1.50 to $2 per home that you send it to per month. If you do it once a month, you're going to be at anywhere from, on the very low end, let's say 80, or even, I guess the small postcard is 49 cents or 59 cents, up to the most expensive is going to be $1.79 for the note card. What else can and should Wilson consider doing in this scenario? I mean, obviously he could knock on doors. That's not something that we are necessarily about here. But he could knock doors. He could go door to door. What else might he do?
Josh? If somebody subscribes to KCM or something like that, a home seller's report, an offer of a home seller's report as one of the postcards or things like that,
So you could do a similar postcard, but just offer something different, right? Where instead of a home price report, you could offer a free report on the 5 dangers of overpricing your home, even in today's crazy hot seller's market, or 12 mistakes to avoid when listing your home, or 10 ways to make your home show like a model home in a weekend, something like that. That's a great point. So you could mix in that type of offer. I will say that you are likely to get lower response than the home price report, but I would also say that those people most likely have more intent and are more seriously thinking about selling in the very near future. So, I mean, there's good and bad there, but I absolutely agree, especially if you're going to go on the heavier frequency, mixing up what you're offering makes a ton of sense. By the way, one of the reasons I love Thanks.io is you can include a QR code on all of your mailings. And when someone scans the QR code, Thanks.io will send you an email. And if I send Harry this message, it will tell me, Harry just scanned the QR code, and this is the address you sent the mailer to. So that is pretty cool, right? That is another way for you to identify through behavior. If somebody's interested enough to scan a QR code, they're probably worth some time and energy to follow up with more heavily, let's say.
What about using the QR code for like see how much your home is worth, or how much is a buyer willing to pay in today's market, or something like that?
Yeah.
But have the QR code.
Yeah. Say that one more time, Adele.
Oh, when you brought up the QR code, I was thinking like maybe putting that on a postcard and offering see how much your home is worth in today's market, but it goes to some kind of landing page that would give them a
So I would,
valuation of some sort.
you definitely want to link you. So that's another great thing with Thanks. You can link your QR code to it, to whatever you want. And absolutely, you should send them to a page that is a landing page or a lead capture page, 100%. And you could vary the messaging there and see what what works better, right? And tweak that. I do think it's important that whatever you send them to matches, it matches up, right? Like it's congruent to what's on there, 100%. Chris made posted in the chat a great point that we've got a great tile or module in our Teachable platform on broadcast email content ideas. It's one of our the benefits of being part of our organization. A couple other thoughts I'll share along these lines of things that Wilson could do in this example. He could send ringless voicemail. He could do a ringless voicemail drop, or he could even text blast these folks. Now, obviously, he'd want to do some additional scrubbing of data to make sure that he's not, reaching out to people on the DNC or known litigator list, things of that nature. He could also manually call them. Okay. Again, not something that we are huge fans of because we like to try and leverage our time and energy into things that scale and duplicate. But those are things he certainly could do. Anything else we're missing here for Wilson, or when thinking about this idea? Oh, I'm forgetting one. He could add it he could upload as a custom audience on Facebook and set up an ad that only shows to that audience. Now, if you've got a list of 600, you can figure that when you upload, that matching is going, there's going to be a point of diminishing returns. It probably will only match maybe 200 to 400 of those, but it's an extra, it's a potentially an extra, way that he could do it.
Does he live in the area?
Yes.
I put magnets on his doors of his car with the message. And I changed my magnets and got away from the zero commission home sale and put sell your home and rent back. And I put a QR code on it, and I'm starting to get some hits on my QR code on the magnets, dog walkers and stuff, I think.
That's great. I mean, QR codes are, they've become mainstream. It's one of maybe very few positive things that have come out of COVID, is that, people, it's easy and they know how to do it, right? Just open up your camera and scan the QR code. So I'm going to tease this because I do have to wrap up. I've got a 12 o'clock appointment. Thursday, or one of our upcoming sessions, I'm going to share what I'm doing with a micro farm of the approach I'm taking of luxury homes in my entire county. And the process of we've taken it sort of theoretically for Wilson, and now I'll show practically what I've executed so far with that particular audience. So, hope you really enjoyed this week's Free Coaching Friday session, and that you take some of the ideas shared and you implement, you take action on them in your own business. I know Wilson already has. He's gotten started implementing that plan, and you should too. Once again, if you would like to join us live for our daily huddle or daily coaching sessions, you can come for one or more. All you have to do is request a free guest pass with whoever sent you this Free Coaching Friday session, this Free Coaching Friday video, and they'll be happy to get you a free guest pass, or you can find more information below as well. So get out there, take action, and dominate your geo farm or your micro farm.